There is something happening in your life right now that nobody around you fully understands. People think you are distracted. They think you are lazy. They think you changed. But what they cannot see is that your spirit has been at war. Chosen one. God is calling you back to your purpose. And this message is not random. You were guided here because heaven saw you slowly drifting away from the assignment that was placed on your life before you were even born. For months, maybe years, you have been running from the very thing that would transform your destiny. You tried to ignore the signs, the sleepless nights, the strange feeling in your chest, the constant inner voice telling you, there is more. You were made for more. Wake up. But you kept pushing it away. Because purpose is heavy. Purpose isolates you. Purpose changes you. Purpose demands the death of the old version of yourself. And most people would rather stay comfortable than become who God created them to be. But you were never created to live an ordinary life. That is why nothing normal has ever satisfied you. You can sit in rooms full of people and still feel alone. You can achieve things and still feel empty. You can laugh in public while silently breaking inside. Because your soul knows something your mind keeps forgetting. You were sent here for a divine reason. And God is tired of watching you doubt what heaven already confirmed. Listen carefully. The attacks you've been facing are not accidental. The confusion, the delays, the betrayals, the exhaustion, the sudden isolation. Those things increased because your purpose got closer. The enemy does not attack people who are asleep. The enemy attacks people who are dangerous. And whether you realize it or not, you are dangerous to darkness. That's why certain people walked away from you. It wasn't rejection. It was divine separation. God had to remove people who would keep you emotionally addicted to a version of yourself that no longer matches your destiny. Some people were assignments. Some were distractions. Some were tests. But very few were meant to go where God is taking you. And deep down, you already know this. You've outgrown conversations. Outgrown environments. Outgrown habits. Outgrown fake connections. You feel disconnected because your spirit is preparing for elevation. Chosen one, this is the season where God is breaking your attachment to what is familiar. Because familiarity is the enemy of transformation. And that's why lately your old life has started feeling strange. The music doesn't hit the same. The parties don't feel the same. The people don't feel the same. You're changing. Not slowly, rapidly, spiritually, internally. You're becoming someone your old environment can no longer recognize. And that scares people. Because when a chosen one wakes up, everyone around them is forced to confront their own sleeping spirit. Some people secretly hoped you would stay broken, stay distracted, stay insecure, stay average, because your light exposes their darkness. But hear this clearly, God did not preserve your life this long just for you to waste your calling. You survived things that should have destroyed you. Some nights you cried silently while pretending to be okay. Some mornings you woke up emotionally numb. Some seasons nearly broke your faith completely. But somehow, you are still here. Why? Because purpose protected you. There is an invisible hand over your life. That car accident? God covered you. That betrayal? God exposed them. That delay? God prevented something worse. You thought heaven abandoned you. But in reality, heaven was repositioning you. And now the calling is becoming impossible to ignore. You feel it when you are alone. That pull, that fire, that deep feeling that you are wasting time. That is not anxiety. That is your spirit reacting to divine urgency. Because time is moving. And God is saying, it is time to return. Return to your discipline. Return to your faith. Return to your assignment. Return to the version of yourself that existed before the world convinced you to play small. Chosen one, you were never meant to blend in. That's why people misunderstand you. You carry something rare. Your presence shifts atmospheres. Your words carry weight. Your energy affects people deeply. Even when you try to stay quiet, people feel you. And that kind of spiritual influence terrifies darkness. That's why your life has been harder than most. Because higher calling, higher warfare. That is intentional. God will sometimes remove satisfaction from temporary things so you finally seek eternal purpose. Because if temporary pleasures kept fulfilling you, you would never evolve. Chosen one. God is trying to wake you up before it's too late. There are gifts inside you that have not been activated yet. Ideas, talents, visions, abilities. Some of you watching this were meant to lead. Some were meant to heal. Some were meant to inspire millions. Some were meant to break generational curses. But you cannot operate in divine power while living in spiritual distraction. And that's why this season feels uncomfortable. God is stretching you, separating you, refining you. You are being spiritually reconstructed. That's why you feel tired after being around certain people. Your spirit is rejecting low frequencies. That's why you suddenly crave solitude. Your soul is trying to hear God clearly. That's why your intuition has become stronger lately. Heaven is sharpening your discernment. Chosen one, you are not losing your mind. You are waking up. And once you fully awaken, your entire life is going to change. The people who ignored you will suddenly notice you. The opportunities that seemed impossible will appear. The doors that stayed closed for years will open unexpectedly. But first, God has to know whether He can trust you with elevation. Because many people ask for blessings, without having the discipline to sustain them. That's why your current season is a test. Will you stay committed when nobody claps for you? Will you keep going when results are invisible? Will you obey God even when your emotions are unstable? That is what separates chosen people from average people. Chosen people move by faith. Average people move by feelings. And your feelings have lied to you for too long. You kept saying, "I'm not ready. I'm too broken. I missed my chance. I'm not good enough." But God never asked for perfection. He asked for obedience. Moses doubted himself. Jonah ran away. David failed repeatedly. Yet God still used them. Why? Because divine calling is not based on human perfection. It is based on divine assignment. And your assignment still stands. No matter how far you drifted. No matter how many mistakes you made. No matter how lost you became. God is calling you back. Right now. Not next year. Not someday. Now. Because there are people connected to your destiny who are waiting for you to awaken. Your breakthrough is not only about you. Your healing will heal others. Your courage will inspire others. Your transformation will free others. You carry generational impact. And darkness knows it. That's why the attacks intensified whenever you got serious about changing your life. Think about it. Every time you tried to become disciplined, something distracted you. Every time you started improving, chaos appeared. Every time you got close to purpose, fear attacked your mind. That pattern was not coincidence. It was resistance. Because greatness always attracts warfare. But listen carefully, the fact that you are under attack proves you are valuable. Nobody guards an empty vault. And heaven has placed treasure inside you. That's why you cannot think like everyone else anymore. You were not designed for shallow living. You were designed for impact. There is a voice inside you that refuses to settle. That voice is God. And lately, He has been getting louder. Through signs. Through dreams. Through sudden realizations. Through repeated messages. Through this very video. Chosen one, this message found you because your spirit was ready to hear it. And I believe something powerful is happening right now. I believe many of you can physically feel this message. The chills, the pressure in your chest, the emotional heaviness. That is your soul recognizing truth. Because truth activates the chosen. And once a chosen one activates, their entire reality changes. But hear me carefully, purpose will cost you. You may lose fake friends. You may lose toxic relationships. You may lose old habits. You may lose the version of yourself that once felt safe. But what you gain will be greater than anything you lost. Peace, clarity, power, direction, spiritual authority. God is not calling you backward. He is calling you higher. Higher thinking, higher discipline, higher standards, higher purpose. And yes, higher responsibility. Because you are entering a season where excuses will no longer work. You know too much now. You've seen too many signs, received too many confirmations, ignored too many warnings. This is your wake-up call. And one day you will look back at this exact moment and realize. This was the turning point. The moment you stopped shrinking yourself. The moment you stopped running. The moment you finally answered God's call. Chosen one, your future self is begging you not to quit now. You are closer than you think. The pressure is heavy because the breakthrough is near. The confusion is intense because clarity is coming. The warfare increased because your elevation is close. Do not stop now. Do not go backward now. Do not betray your destiny for temporary comfort. There is greatness waiting on the other side of your obedience. And I believe with everything in me, that this next season of your life will shock everyone who underestimated you, including yourself. Because once God fully activates a chosen one, nothing can stop them. Not fear, not darkness, not betrayal, not delay, not opposition, nothing. And this is the part where everything changes. Because after today, you cannot pretend you didn't hear the call. Heaven has spoken. The question is, will you answer? You tried to ignore the call after the first time God warned you. You distracted yourself. You buried yourself in entertainment. You told yourself you were overthinking. But late at night, when the room became silent, the feeling returned. That deep feeling that your life is supposed to mean something greater. Chosen one, this is part 2 because the message is not finished. God is still speaking. And what you are about to hear may be the confirmation your spirit has been waiting for your entire life. Listen carefully. The reason your path has felt lonely is because God intentionally separated you before elevating you. Most people think isolation is punishment. But for chosen people, isolation is preparation. Before God changes your life publicly, He transforms you privately. That's why you've been spending more time alone lately. Not because you are abandoned. Not because nobody cares. But because heaven is removing noise from your spirit. There are things God cannot reveal to distracted people. And for a long time, you were surrounded by too much noise. Too many opinions. Too many fake relationships. Too many voices pulling you away from your assignment. So God allowed separation. Painful separation. The kind that made you question everything. Friends changed. People disappeared. Conversations died. Relationships collapsed. And you thought, why is everyone leaving my life? Because some people cannot go where God is taking you. Read that again in your spirit. Some people were connected to your comfort, not your calling. And God loves you too much to let your destiny die inside environments that no longer fit your future. Chosen one, you are entering a season where discernment will save your life. Not everybody smiling at you supports you. Not everybody around you is assigned by God. Some people are spiritual distractions sent to delay your purpose. That's why your intuition has been screaming lately. You can feel fake energy faster now. You notice hidden jealousy quicker now. You feel drained around certain people instantly now. That is not paranoia. That is spiritual awareness increasing. God is sharpening your vision because where you are going, discernment is survival. The next level of your life cannot be entered blindly. And listen carefully because this part is powerful. The enemy's greatest weapon against chosen people is not destruction. It is distraction. Because if darkness cannot kill your purpose, it will try to consume your attention. That's why your generation is drowning in endless scrolling, meaningless entertainment, toxic attachments, and constant mental noise. A distracted mind cannot hear divine instruction clearly. And many chosen people lost years of destiny because they kept feeding their spirit garbage. But something changed inside you recently. You started craving depth. You became tired of fake conversations. Tired of surface level living. Tired of pretending. You started wanting peace more than popularity. That is the sign of spiritual awakening. Because when God starts pulling you higher, your appetite changes. The things that once entertained you begin to disgust you. The old version of you slowly starts dying. And death is uncomfortable. That's why transformation feels painful. You are grieving the person you used to be. You are grieving old habits, old identities, old addictions, old emotional attachments. But hear this clearly, you cannot carry your old self into your new destiny. God is calling you into a different dimension of life. And the version of you that survives there, must think differently, move differently, protect energy differently. Chosen one, your future requires discipline. Not motivation. Not temporary emotion. Discipline. Because feelings change daily. But purpose requires consistency. And that's where many people fail. They wait until they feel ready. But readiness is an illusion. If Noah waited to feel ready, the ark would never be built. If David waited to feel confident, Goliath would never fall. If Peter waited to understand everything, he would never step onto the water. Faith moves before certainty appears. And God is asking you to move now, even while afraid, even while uncertain, even while healing. Because your destiny does not have time for endless hesitation. There are blessings waiting for your obedience. And some of you listening right now are standing one decision away from a completely different life. One disciplined season. One act of courage. One moment of surrender. That's all it takes for heaven to open doors no human can close. But the enemy knows this. That's why lately your mind has been under attack. Negative thoughts, fear, overthinking, emotional exhaustion, sudden temptation. Because darkness wants you mentally weak before your breakthrough arrives. The battlefield was never around you. It was always inside you. And the greatest war of your life is the war between your higher self and your lower self. One side wants growth. The other wants comfort. One side wants purpose. The other wants pleasure. One side wants discipline. The other wants excuses. And whichever side you feed, becomes stronger. Chosen one, what have you been feeding lately? Because heaven is watching your habits. Your daily actions are revealing which future you truly want. Many people pray for transformation while secretly staying loyal to the behaviors destroying them. But God is not mocked. You cannot continuously feed darkness and expect light to grow inside you. That's why this season feels intense. You are being forced to choose. Not someday. Now. Who are you becoming? Because time is moving faster than ever. And deep down, you already know you were not born to waste your life chasing temporary distractions. You were born for impact. That's why your spirit feels restless. Your soul knows you are capable of more. And listen carefully because this next part may hit hard. Some of you have spent years waiting for somebody else to save you, waiting for support, waiting for validation, waiting for permission. But chosen ones rarely receive support in the beginning. Why? Because your vision was given to you, not them. People cannot always understand what God showed you privately. That's why many chosen people look crazy before they look powerful. Noah looked crazy building the ark. Joseph looked crazy describing his dreams. Moses looked crazy confronting Pharaoh. But eventually, what looked crazy became undeniable. And the same thing is about to happen in your life. The people doubting you now will not recognize you in the next season, because God is preparing a transformation so massive that even your enemies will be forced to witness it. But first, you must survive the hidden season. The hidden season is where God tests your character without applause. No audience, no recognition, no visible rewards, just obedience. That is where real power is built. Anybody can stay committed when people clap for them, but can you stay disciplined when nobody notices? Can you keep building when results are invisible? Can you stay faithful while everything around you feels delayed? That is the difference between average people and chosen people. Chosen people continue even in silence. And hear me carefully, silence does not mean God forgot you. Sometimes heaven becomes quiet because God is watching what you do without constant reassurance. Can you trust Him without immediate evidence? That is faith. And your faith is being stretched right now because your capacity is increasing. You are preparing for things bigger than your current understanding. Bigger influence, bigger responsibility, bigger blessings. But bigger blessings require a stronger spirit. That's why the pressure increased. Pressure creates strength. Diamonds are created under pressure. Warriors are created under pressure. Chosen ones are revealed under pressure. And you are being revealed. The old version of you is collapsing. The insecure version, the fearful version, the distracted version. God is killing the mindset that kept you spiritually weak. Because where He is taking you, fear cannot survive. And this next season of your life will demand courage you have never used before. You will have to walk away from comfort. Walk away from toxic people. Walk away from environments that shrink your spirit. And yes, it will hurt. Growth always hurts. But staying stuck hurts more. Chosen one, you already sacrificed too much time pretending to be less than who you are. No more shrinking. No more doubting. No more abandoning your calling. This is your moment to return to purpose completely. Not halfway. Not occasionally. Fully. Because partial obedience still delays destiny. And many of you can feel it right now. You feel that urgency in your spirit. That pressure to finally get serious about your life. That is not random emotion. That is divine activation. God is waking up the warrior inside you. The disciplined version. The focused version. The fearless version. The version of you that no longer runs from purpose. And once that version fully awakens, your life will never be the same again. Opportunities will chase you. Peace will protect you. Clarity will guide you. Favor will surround you. Not because life becomes easy, but because your spirit becomes stronger. And when your spirit becomes stronger, darkness loses control over your mind. That is true freedom. Chosen one, you were never meant to live chained to fear. You were meant to lead, build, transform, inspire. There are people attached to your assignment who are waiting for you to awaken. Children not even born yet may be impacted by the decisions you make in this season. That's how deep purpose goes. Your obedience can change generations, but your disobedience can delay generations too. And that's why heaven keeps calling you. Again, and again, and again. Because your life matters more than you realize. You are not random. You are not ordinary. You are marked. That feeling you've had since childhood, that feeling that you were different. It was real. You were chosen before you understood what being chosen would cost. And yes, being chosen is expensive. It costs comfort. It costs distractions. It costs fake relationships. It costs old identities. But what it gives in return is priceless. Divine peace, true purpose, spiritual power, eternal impact. And now the decision stands in front of you again. Will you continue sleeping through your calling? Or will you finally rise into the person God created you to become? Because heaven is waiting, and deep down, you already know the answer.